The lead pollster for the conservative-leaning Rasmussen Reports, by the name of Mark Mitchell, appeared on Steve Bannon's War Room late last week to issue a dire warning to Republicans that Donald Trump has basically destroyed your chances of winning in the midterms next year because, as Mitchell pointed out, again, this is a MAGA pollster at a MAGA polling company telling us Trump is so unpopular, his approval rating has cratered to the point where the Republican Party next year is screwed. And there may not be any amount of gerrymandering that they can do that's going to save them because of how unpopular everything Trump is doing has become. But here is just a sample of what Mitchell had to say. Now, you've probably heard a lot of really good headlines about the future of the Democrat Party, about how their brand is in the tank, about how over the long term they're going to hemorrhage electoral votes as the 2030 census catches up with all the movements that happened post-COVID, how we might fix the 2020 census and that might give another 15 seats back to the Republicans, and also all this redistricting stuff. So first and foremost, the guy's celebrating like, hey, Republicans are cheating and we're going to change the 2020 census and we're going to gerrymander and yay, we're going to get 15 seats. So clearly the top pollster for this polling company, definitely diehard Republican. In case anybody had any doubts, like, why do you call him right-leaning? That's why. But then he goes on to say, Trump still has to have the Republicans win November of 2026. And you know, the bad news is that every single major pollster right now is the Democrat Party picking up seats in the House and most likely winning the majority. And that brings us to a very inconvenient and uncomfortable public opinion fact, which is that Donald Trump might get all of these wins, but he can't pick and choose what he gets credit for. And so this summer he got his signature legislation signed, the one big beautiful bill. He took out Iran's nuclear program, and he got all these trade... Oh my God. He didn't take out their nuclear program. He didn't get trade deals. And the one big beautiful bill is the most unpopular piece of legislation in my lifetime, at least. So you're like, look at all these wins. And it's like an empty bucket. And you're like, no, there's definitely things in the bucket. No, there's not. You're absolutely fabricating these things, not understanding, even though you work at a polling company, which is ironic, that a majority of people hate these things and disagree with them. You should know that because you do polls for a living, you fucking idiot. But he continues. And I've lost a ton of followers calling Trump out for the way he handled the Epstein thing because it was kind of a canary in the coal mine that maybe we aren't getting the massive redress of voters' grievances and that we thought we were going to get with Trump. And so maybe, again, he won't get credit for all these wins. So, he's trying to blame Donald Trump's unpopularity on the Epstein thing. He says that he did all these great things that the public hates, but it's Epstein that's really bringing him down. Now, there is no doubt, obviously, that the Epstein thing is, of course, causing Donald Trump's poll numbers to drop. And again, as an honest pollster, he would have told you that. But the real problem Trump has is that the voters hate every single thing that he's done. He is underwater on every single issue. Name it. Tariffs, underwater grossly. Handling of the economy, underwater. Lowering prices for consumers, underwater. Labor, underwater. Environment, underwater. Immigration, underwater. Crime, underwater. And you're going to sit there as a pollster and tell us, oh, it's Epstein. The Epstein thing did it. When the public looks, a majority of the public looks at everything this guy does and says, I hate that. I hate it. I hate him. That's what your own polls show you. And you're going to sit there with Steve Bannon and say, oh, it's the Epstein thing. You know, we can clear that up and Republicans win forever. Oh my God. My God. How anybody on this planet can trust Rasmussen polling after hearing this idiot's words is beyond me. Like, this is not a polling company. This, of course, is a propaganda outlet designed to make Republicans feel better about themselves, even though the public and every other poll knows the opposite is true. And For the record, Rasmussen, of course, is Donald Trump's favorite polling company. But Mitchell is right about one thing and one thing only. Trump is screwing the Republican Party with how unpopular he is. Mitchell just doesn't seem to understand what the reason behind that actually is. Thanks for watching, everyone. You know, we're inching closer and closer to 1 million subscribers, and we're aiming to hit that goal before the year closes. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and don't forget to like, comment, and share. Thanks for joining us as we head towards this huge milestone.